argue things like loans. This is where schools argue just
Here
access
we
to
go.
utilities.
Unfair
And
advantage.
I think the reason why I think we're skipping a couple steps here is that
Unfair
for
advantage.
me, right, I feel like
Engaged.
class is entangled in a bunch of other things, like race and gender,
Hi.
I mean,
especially, for
class
example.
class is like definitionally class involves race,
And
etc. Class
right,
reductionism doesn't.
and
Does?
something that happens, something
Crime.
something that happens is that people go, I want to destroy capitalism. And then you get a bunch of like left-leaning folks that are like, I agree. But then there's like a skipping of the step where we have to understand or even come to terms with some basic ideas and ask them pretty like basic questions. Like,
Okay,
is
we'll watch it
race
like
and class
this.
entangled with each other? Is gender and class entangled with each other? Someone like North might say yes, but maybe Pisco, you might disagree with that. So I think what's happening is that within this conversation is that we're skipping a couple fundamental steps. And I think those are the steps that Danabo wants to come back to. Is that a decent
I
argument,
mean, it
Danabo?
does
To
affect
what
the
your frustration was?
thumbnails that people see.
We already know the definitions within the question and why we came on the panel to talk about it. It was in regards, it was in regards to Mike from PA's class reductionism, is in reducing it from the white working class to the Black Lives Matter movement. They were two separate classes to him, and he wanted to
All
take one away.
right, cool.
So that was
Let's
the
get
reduction
this.
we're talking about.
Let's
So
get this
it
going.
wasn't-
For class, one involving race. For the North just suggested that
Yes.
race is intimately entangled with notions
Yes,
of class.
your socioeconomic class, your socioeconomic class is entangled with
That's
race,
not the definition
gender.
that I heard before. You were talking about.
We were talking about
capital-
economic class. We were talking about
Whoa,
Marxist
please,
economic classes before,
Oh,
which is
wait,
different
wait.
from socioeconomic
Stop.
class. It's different when you say class and economic class. In the connotation of a conversation about the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, class means something different than class generally.
I gave you a clean slate.
Hold on, wait.
Stop.
Hold a big,
Yeah,
big,
Moxie.
like, big, whatever thing. Okay, so if you're talking about class and you think you're just talking about economics in a Marxian sense, you stop reading. Like,
That was fast.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, my answer is yes to your question.
The answer is yes.
The answer is
The
yes.
answer is yes.
I think you're a bad moderator.
Bad moderator. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on my stream title. I was like wondering what question. I was like, did I ask a question? I think I might have asked a few questions. So, yeah, we should probably change that stream title again because I don't want to shortchange Senpai Chao about getting a mention on the actual title here.
I saw your tweet.
Oh, why does it say
off-
re-editing? This is old. This is old.
These things happen.
No, I'm just trying to get editing the fuck out of the title. What I'm doing now is just like watching the video again, because like people are not here for editing streams, at least not unless you cultivate that kind of audience that wants to like learn about how to use video editing software. It's a very different audience than mine, apparently. Apparently my audience would rather see this thumbnail. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're doing this thumbnail. And what are we going to add to the thumbnail? We got to have like a little bit of a lettering or something to signify that we're talking to Senpai Chao on Discord. I might actually just grab the your Discord like avatar.
Yeah, or I could use my Twitter avatar. Computer.
Oh, yeah. I just mean to like be like, wait a minute.
Nobody will know what my Twitter avatar looks like because I change it on a whim. I don't care.
Wait, what? How is this already on here? Just a second. Oh, I see. I already have one of these and it's perfectly centered. Oh my God, I don't even have to do any work here. This is super easy. You just copy and paste. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I still probably have to get your like write your name somewhere, but yeah, there we go. There we go. So if you say something, it'll like light up your voice, and then that way the chat's like less confused about like what's going on and stuff.
Yes, if you can't tell by who is speaking, you could look at the name.
I mean, you can, yeah, probably tell that, but like there's always people that come in and they're like, what? Who's on the stream? So let's see, on Discord with.
I know my voice isn't that pleasant that it burns into people's memories.
Well, not everyone could be Chud Logic.
It's the accent. It's not even the voice. It's the accent.
A good portion is definitely the accent. Yeah.
It's exotic to what is our American senses.
Oh yeah, we put all this weird stuff on British people that just like we essentialize the fuck out of like. But I mean, it depends on the accent, right? Because like there's different British accents too. Like,
I can't tell.
Well, you know, like
Scottish,
the Cockney
Irish,
one.
British. I can't.
Like so if you hear somebody with a Cockney accent, I can't do it. I can't do that. Everybody thinks they can do a Cockney accent, but very few Americans actually can do a Cockney accent or anything approaching that. It's okay, I like that font. Okay, so and then we'll make this.
So did you just call me expecting that I would answer?
I thought you were saying like yes, like to the answer of being on stream.
Well, I've been meaning to talk to you about this
Oh yeah.
because I was talking with Universal Discourse yesterday. I don't know if you got most of it.
I was yeah, I just rated out, I think, so.
I see. I could rehash my conversation with them. TLDR, I do think you're a bad moderator. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is because I don't see you moderate enough. You let these episodes, and maybe it's intentional. So if it
What would
is,
that say?
then what will that say? I don't care. This is your content. I may be a little bit judgmental. No, I won't be judgmental. I won't agree with the style. And I probably can assume why it's intentional, but this is your content. This is your stream.
Mm-hmm.
I can criticize it, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has control over it. So, like, this isn't something that is going to make me end our relationship. This is just me as a fellow content creator, as a person who often goes on to your panels gracefully. Thank you for the invites for all the times. Yeah, I just don't think you moderate enough and you let these episodes happen. And I think it's really, you could do a lot to make the discussions better just by putting out the fires when you see it.
Yeah, so like you're talking about the fire being somebody's rhetoric getting a little too heated, or you're talking about the fire being somebody being what we'd call rude in you know, normal
Both.
life interaction. So I mean, do you feel
Both.
like what do you think is, what if anything is the difference between an on-stream interaction and like a real life interaction in terms of, I guess, like manners and convention, like the way that the precedent of how we conduct ourselves in those situations?
To me, it's the same. I act the same way off stream and on stream. So to me, there's no difference, but I could definitely see it being that mattering towards other people. The division for me isn't off stream or on stream, it's casual versus professional. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that I need to switch is how do I behave when I'm at home and with friends and at a party versus how am I in a classroom or in a meeting or at work.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, now that I think about it, on Twitch, there's a mixture of both. And that mixture, I wouldn't say is dichotomous because you could achieve a balance, but when one leans too much towards the other, it clashes. When there's one person who wants to be really professional but then another person just wants to be super casual, it doesn't mix well. It's like oil and water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like these words like casual and professional, they're kind of relative, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, of course.
yeah, just to like what sort of work environment or what sort of home environment or, you know, whatever you're considering like your baseline. And it's kind of like the Twitch debate world has its own you know, sensibilities in this way, and they're not exactly the same as my sensibilities, as you kind of notice. Like, although, you know, you'd probably criticize me for allowing or for rather not intervening in you know,
I do.
interpersonal sort of like tiffs that happen. You wouldn't say that I'm somebody that's like likely to get into one of those tiffs like on stream, like in the you know, context of a panel. Right. So it's clear that there's a difference between like the on-stream interaction that I'm comfortable with, or at least, you know, with I guess it's different being a host. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, yeah, which is weird because like also like, you know, there's like an expectation of guests, but that's why I like feel like comparing this to like manners in the real world like kind of goes astray, you know? I feel like if we were to follow real world conventions, we would produce content that would be of limited interest because it would be already obtainable and already been seen in the real world. That's not to say that like I want to like, you know, obviously, you know, I'm putting on a show or anything or showing anybody anything fake or you know, playing, you know, to the crowd to the point where you lose your mission, your goal in Twitch. But I think that there definitely is like a difference, and it's more than just like, you know, what like Vera would talk about. In fact, if Vera is around, that Vera would be awesome to. I think Vera would have some ideas
Vera's
about.
a great person to talk about
This,
this.
yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah,
I have my critiques of Vera, but she is able to say
we'll maybe wait.
any amount of
We'll wait
spicy
until she
things,
gets
but
on if you wanna you voice those critiques. So.
Oh, no, I'm saying I do. They exist, but this is a praise in that she has a lot of spicy ideas, but she's able to express them in non-confrontational ways that doesn't spark any sort of
Mhm.
anger or negative emotions towards anybody else. And I'm not calling you a casual. And yes, there is a performative nature on Twitch, and it is not our obligation to abide by that performative nature. We could go beyond, we could break convention. This is not something that is default. And if you think
Oh no, that's
that,
true. That's true. It does
yeah,
change, but it changes
I'm just
over
reading your
time,
chat.
right?
I'm reading your chat, and I'm
So who
kind
are you
of getting
reacting to
triggered.
then? Yeah, you can read my chat since I'm not doing it right now. Every
Oh
person
my gosh.
on this panel knows they could have gone to Irene if needed. In that sense, we were professional and we understand the performative nature of Twitch. Yeah, I mean, I kind of guess that like there's different kinds of interactions that you have, and you know, the general Twitch debate interaction has got some expectations. Like, in other words, Senpai Chao, like, as intriguing as I find your idea of setting a real harsh rule set with people and, you know, kind of like instantly banning anybody who comes up against that, you know,
Well,
with the chance to like apologize and get back on if they want to, right? I worry that that would essentially self-select certain streamers, certain debate streamers that people like to watch have debates. In fact, probably the more popular debate streamers would be like, can you imagine? Okay, so imagine this. You know Vosh, right? Vosh.
yeah.
Okay, so imagine you somehow Vosh is in a, you know, ends up in your city because he was taking a plane ride and he couldn't get like home or whatever, and so you're taking Vosh like home to have dinner. Okay, this is COVID, so you probably wouldn't do this, but imagine it's not COVID, right? So like you take Vosh home, like, you know, and you're thinking this is okay because Vosh is a real person. So when Vosh meets my parents, Vosh is going to be like a normal person and be polite and, you know, like da, 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 da. You're like, you know, my parents are a little bit conservative, but I'm sure Vosh isn't going to go off and like call them brainlets. And he does. He's like, you're a bunch of fucking smooth brains in here. I can't believe this is even your kid. Your kid is so much smarter than you. Like, how did you come out of like a bunch of, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, if that happened, like, you know, that would be that's kind of like horrendous. And that's what I, you know, like we're literally talking about the most. I guess wait, no, Hassan probably has got more eyeballs technically, but you know, like the person that does, I guess, yeah, Hassan Vosh is maybe the most popular of the debate streamers, and you know, pretty popular for a politics streamer. So like, you know, obviously it's not the only way. You could be like a celebrity already and have been on TYT for years and then come to Twitch, and maybe you could get around, you know, like the kind of you know, that kind of confrontational debate bro nature, and yeah, it is like a culture, or culture. I don't mean a culture in the sense of an actual culture. I just mean like there's a way of acting, there's common frames, there's, you know, sort of precedents within you know, this culture that, you know, can be changed, but I feel like only over the course of time and mostly by example rather than by some sort of a forced thing. Because like basically like the stream isn't me, the stream is actually the audience. Okay,
No,
so if I do
I disagree.
You disagree? You don't think that the stream is that the audience like has
It is you. Wait,
but the
stream
conversation
is
is with the
literally
audience.
your stream. The audience comes to your stream for you.
Right. Well, not just me, but they come from my guests too. Like, right? That's a big important part of the equation. It's not just a normal stream.
If it's your viewers, they watch your stream. Okay, maybe this is getting a bit pedantic, but like, yes, we all share like the same audience because we're all watching the same thing, but from who and where and how, it is your stream. This is your content. This is you. So you just said setting the example, and I agree on that.
Yeah.
But I think where you're going with this is it's going to take time, and that time is not now. And is that where you're going with that?
I'm going with I could either be part of the discourse and have an effect on it over time as a person who has a seat at the table, or I could never get a seat at the table and I could criticize it from the outside and feel utterly ineffectual and powerless as I'm doing it. I could mauld about Vosh's numbers and tell everybody that like people have no tastes and, you know, they don't understand what like even a real argument is, and that, you know, like this is how I would do things if I was Vosh. But I actually haven't been in that situation, and I made some similar criticisms to my friend Xander Hall earlier on that I ended up having to eat my words on that. Because exactly what Xander Hall predicted would happen when I gained viewers, I gained, you know, haters, and these weren't haters that were coming on like you, who has like a real issue, a real action item for me that you think that would make my stream like more effective in its goal, and are coming in absolute like the best faith. You know, these are people that are coming in the absolute worst faith, that, you know, see a creator as being well, yeah, they essentialize the creator. They have a problem with something of the creator's content, and then they think that it's like it's all, you know, Irene that's generating this stuff, when really it is and always has had more to do with the audience than with us.
I'm not sure where to go from this.
Danabo says I'd take Vosh home. I mean, Vosh is a keeper, definitely. Oh my god! Yo, is that how you read that? Danabo, did you read that as thirst? Was that thirst?
Irene, being a part or like trying to change the culture of the discourse is not going to make you lose a seat at the table.
Well, trying to change it, like, I mean, there's a difference between like changing it by pulling it and changing it by forcing it. Do you know what I mean? By trying to like override and be like, look, I am the mistress of bird brains, and if you want to be part of bird brains, then you must go through me. And my rule is absolute, and I say that you shall not interrupt each other. We will have a nice civil conversation. We will all be little Irenes, and anybody that violates that, you're out of here. Demon Mama, North the Mage, you're gone. All right, let's continue the stream now. Oh wait, where'd the audience go? Fuck. Oh my god, they're
Yeah.
watching Demon Mama
Okay,
and
I
North
see.
debate on Demon Mama's channel? You don't say. Oh damn. Fuck, I never
Okay.
thought of that.
All right. I disagree with this because it's like you're saying that if it's done by force, it's not going to happen. But that's
I
actually
mean, I
one
don't
of the
have that
ways.
power. Like
No,
I'm
you
not
absolutely no, you absolutely
the center
do.
of power here.
As the host of Bird Brains, as the moderator of Bird
I mean, I
Brains,
have the power
you
in the context
absolutely
of
do
the
have that.
episode, but I
You
don't have the
absolutely do have the power.
I don't have the
in
power in
order-
the space in the Twitch / YouTube space. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm, you know, my reach, my influence is limited. You know, it's a lot of who watches Bird Brains depends on like what guests I'm able to bring on, and
Oh,
you know
I am
what
just
guests don't
one
want to fuck with my
person.
rules.
I am just one person. My vote doesn't matter
But
in
it's
a
important
country
to
of
hear you
millions.
out, I think, you know, because you do
Oh.
come at this with a different perspective, right? You know, it's very much like an outside perspective, but sometimes you can see different things from the outside than you can see from the inside of something like this. And I don't want to be like, you know,
I'm coming from the outside as a person watching the panels, as well as a person from the inside, a part of these panels, as
Mhm.
well as recently a moderator. I just moderated my first show
Mhm.
Wednesday.
Congratulations.
And yeah, I had these quote unquote rigid rules, and I told people to shut it when I realized they were trapping themselves or trapping each other into a circle jerk of, oh, I think this is really moral, but it's not pragmatic, blah 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 blah. And then when I saw the fires, when I saw any potential for fires, I said, all right, stop. We're going to move on. Here are the reasons. What does anybody else think? And yes, this is a bit authoritarian, and this is my analysis of the Twitch culture, is that there was no culture. Everything was zero. It was nothing. It's only anarchy.
It's a bunch of
because there are no
gamers.
rules. Because there's no precedent. There are no rules and there are no systems. There are no structures. And when that happens, then everybody else starts making it up for themselves. They have their own standards, they have their own styles. And what results is chaos. And that's how I would describe a lot of the parts, actually not a lot. The parts where like it got out of hand, that's the one word I would use.
Mhm.
Chaos. And yes,
I want to
we
get.
can
So,
say
are you
and yes,
saying? Are you saying that? Will you say that here and now that Bird Brains is chaos?
No, no, there are moments depending on it actually really depends on the topic as well as the actors, the participants. But what I don't see a lot happening is the moderator or the structure of the panel trying to influence the participants into good behavior. Like, yes, when we set down rules and when we have consequences for those rules, in a sense, that is authoritarian. And in a sense, you are laying down the hammer. This might
So I
sound
gotta
like,
kick that
oh,
like
you're
Dom.
just like being the big boss. But
Sounds very Dom.
it does sound dumb at first, but
Oh
here's
no,
the
Dom,
thing.
not dumb. Dom.
Dom,
D-O-M.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, Dom.
Okay, I thought you said
Domination.
it. Okay, yeah.
No, I didn't say dumb. Because I
Okay,
think it's
good.
smart.
No, I
But
wasn't saying that.
eventually, this becomes almost second nature. Rules start to become norms, and norms start to become internalized. This is normalization. Like, no longer is your parent going to get a bit, not a bit angry, but is going to like tell you to say thank you whenever you receive something, you're just going to start saying thank you because it's the nice thing to do. So at first, there's always, almost always going to be this DOM rules and consequences, but it's all for the sake of reaching normalization. And yes, you may think that like you're a small creator and you have a small platform and you're like it's futile to try to change the culture of Twitch. That's the same kind of logic to say like, "Oh, I'm one person in a country of millions. My vote doesn't count." Et cetera, et cetera. And you are a big creator. That panel had 100 viewers. I don't get that.
You don't
A
get
lot of
that? Like
people
why
No,
100
no.
people would watch me, or
Yeah, like 100 viewers. Yeah, I
why
think
would
that's a
they
big
watch?
deal, especially within our little circle. Like it's you, Dylan Prime, like who else?
Well, for me, it's clearly for my discourse, for my,
Yeah,
it's all about
and
that. Yeah.
I and this is just what I got from that discourse. I came out dumber. It was not good, and a lot of people on that panel probably came out dumber too. And
Well,
they
I
would
mean, I
say,
hope it doesn't
"Oh,
affect. I hope it doesn't
I had
affect
a
your
nice."
takes going forward. That it made you
It,
dumber. Doesn't like hamper your analysis.
uh, it got me frustrated. It gave me a headache, and I felt dumber.
So kind of like a Psyduck attack. Like
Yes.
if I stare at you long enough, you'll just.
Yes.
Does it work?
And it's the screaming, it's the tactics, it's et cetera, et cetera, et
What
cetera.
if I'd been making
And
faces? Like, what if I'd been reacting? Like, do you think that would work? Do you think there's a way I could exercise like some kind of soft power where it's like my reaction to somebody being rude is like makes them like kind of like question whether they want to go down that road?
wait, absolutely, yeah. You
So
can
like
send
if I did the
signals.
plethora thing and I was just like, yikes, when I like, or like, just give like that, like just, I think you have to over exaggerate it though. Cause you know what I mean? Since you're like one square among many.
Yeah, you can exercise soft power, or you can exercise hard power.
Or
Hard power.
be
Well, no,
dumb.
it's not. It's and and like perhaps I could elaborate onto these quote unquote rigid. These aren't rigid rules. Do you know what the rules are that I have in mind?
Like bedtime is or like curfew is 10:30 on
I'm 23.
weeknights.
I don't have a child.
Oh, okay.
So these are, I think, really simple rules. They're very
Are they
common
12
sense
of them?
rules.
Are there 12 of them? Please tell me there's 12.
There are there are 5, but I only use 4 for the all Asian everything. But there are 5. Okay,
Oh, so we're getting like a
and
bonus material?
and they're very simple rules.
Okay.
No crosstalk.
Let's talk.
That's rule number 1. Rule
I want
number
to make a
2.
song based on these rules. Like there's got to be a way, like, if you had an intro song that was like the rules were the song, then I think people would maybe respect the rules more.
No, I send them out to my participants, and I say, read them, open the document, and when you have read it, add a reaction to the Discord message, and they do that.
Oh,
I
so you make them do their homework too. I've never thought
I make
about
them
that
do
too.
their
Is like,
homework.
yeah,
I
like,
send out
them the
topics,
links, but
and does anybody open them? I
possibly
don't know.
not. I don't have like a
But
little program
possibly
to
not.
tell me. I don't have, what is it called? There's that program, that program that goes on your when you take a test online, but like it wants to see like move it around the room, okay? Like what is that program called? Fuck, my school used to do it and now they don't. Lockdown. I think it's called Lockdown. Has anyone used that? It's like a program, like if you're taking a test at home.
Lockdown browser?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh my god, that is so like, or I can't even
It's
pee.
terrible.
You have to
terrible.
pee before you take the test. It's terrible. But yeah, the Platrell says that we need to model our debates after lobster discourse. 12 more rules. Oh, that's right. He came out with 12 more rules. He's advertising the book. I don't know if the book's come out yet, but Jordan Peterson is back.
Oh, that's where the number 12 was coming from. It's It's from Jordan
12 rules
Peterson.
for life.
Lamau.
Yeah.
Lamau, what a
Very,
joke.
very
Haha, very
popular.
funny, guys. Very funny.
It's a very
Like, I don't know.
popular. It's a New York Times bestseller.
I don't understand. Like, I'm just reading. I'm kind of skimming things in Twitch chat. Like, I don't know why so many people are so adverse
I think you should call out
to
chat.
the idea of
Call out spicy
rules
chat.
and to the idea of rules and structures that that punish people for not following the rules. Like on Twitter today, we literally had like some sort of intervention of redneck and a bunch of people saying that he's not invited back onto the
Yeah.
hippy dippy and whatnot, and like he's not being
Yeah, he did some
platformed
fucked up
because of-
shit, right? Like a lot. There's actually, yeah.
I'm not sure, but here's the thing though, is that is already a sense of what is it's not codified. He's not being uninvited onto these platforms because of anything that's codified. It's not content. Does it start with a C? The word is escaping my mind. But it's just like rules in the air that are just they're customary. That's what it is.
Customs.
He is being taken out of these panels based on what is customary, but we could just as easily codify these things and
What he
make
said,
it
oh,
more
it was literally
legitimate.
TOS according to Danabo. So he broke the rule. He broke the rules of Twitch. Yeah, I would definitely kick somebody out for that too.
Yeah. And we can do the same thing when it comes to Twitch panels. And
For rudeness.
I'm doing huh?
For rudeness.
Yeah. For rudeness. Like, okay, when somebody says something like really rude, like for example, your argument is silly. You know that's an ad hominem. You're not necessarily targeting the person, but an argument isn't silly. You're personifying the argument. So what you're really saying is the person making the argument is silly. And that happens all the time. And not a lot of people understand the connection on how that is an ad hominem. And then it makes the other person feel like, oh wow, they just called my take silly. I'm silly for making that take.
And they react in
I
kind.
am dumb for making that take. I am ugly for making that take. I am disgusting for making that take, etc., etc., etc. That's an ad hominem. That's hostile. That's rudeness. That needs to get out. And then you say, hey, that's not right. Chill, and then like move on. And if they do it again, mute them, tell them again, give them another warning or whatnot. And if they continuously do them despite the reminders, then you either have to like really mute them for a long time or they get the boot. And like I understand, yes, there is a concern that we're going to be kicking out all the bad actors and keeping all the good ones. Is this an idea that nobody is on board about? Because I am totally okay with getting rid of all the assholes that gets time and space onto Twitch panels.
So you'd say that not just should you kick them off the panel in the moment, but if somebody like is in the habit of doing this, is known to do this, and like you feel like they're likely to do this on a stream, that it should just be a thing where people don't have them on panels.
If they have a history of doing it and it is there and it's like it's almost intentional, the repetition almost implies that it's
willful.
intentional. Yeah, it's like oh, I promise I'm gonna behave, and then they erupt, and then the next time you're like, oh, I promise I'll behave like this time, and then they do it again. It's like
They're just
at
like
that
playing
point,
you, yeah.
yeah, it's like what's going on? No. See, that's a bad actor. Okay, that's a person breaking the rules.
I mean, do you think that
Like
we have
understand.
people like here in the Twitch community, like in the debate community, that just like should not be like platformed based on that?
I wouldn't know because the thing is that nobody has, at least like except for me, I haven't seen anybody have defined rules and actually have taken down a history of behavior of people and then done a overtime analysis on if they've been improved. Because here's the thing about the rules and the consequences is that yes, they punish, but the punishment is incentivized. Okay, we have the rules and we have the systems in place in order to tell people that, hey, if you break them, you're not going to get space. So just don't break them.
Just be more like a good neighbor almost.
Yes, exactly.
Because I mean, it's almost like a virtual neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
oh my
Yes,
god,
yes.
wait, no, you're right. It's like we're creating our environment.
Yes.
It's like this is the land of make believe, and like whatever we make real is like our reality. It's like if we want to.
creating a society. We live in a society, guys. We have rules of decency. This is nothing new.
This is just like people should have learned this like on Mr. Rogers.
People should have learned this in fucking kindergarten. When we don't say thank you, you get frowned upon, and then you learn to say thank you,
You say
and then
please
you
and
realize
thank
it's
you,
just being
yeah.
a decent person. In the same way of, oh, I cross-talked, I got punished, and then I realized, wow, cross-talking is such an asshole thing to do, therefore I'm not going to cross-talk. Yes, we're trying to condition people, guys. This is human behavior. This is how we create decent people.
Hey, Peter Pants off. How's it going?
And the reason why, no, everybody knows this, but the reason why it happens so much over the internet, just not just Twitch, but over the internet, Facebook, Twitter, I don't know if there's any arguments over Instagram, probably there are, is we're being
I wouldn't know. I'm
protected by
banned.
the
You know that?
screen.
I'm too spicy for Instagram. Apparently, they banned me because of my
Wait, did they
name.
actually ban you?
Somehow, like something about my name like caused this like automatic thing, and then they were like, you got to send us like proof that you're a human by taking a picture of yourself with this number that we give you, and I did, but then like the file, I called it like nocommentchick, and they thought that sounded like a Spanish word, and they were like, oh shit, she's a Spanish speaker, so they sent me over to Spanish tech support, and now I'm stuck in Spanish tech support, which I can kind of read Spanish because I know French, and so I can kind of like sort of know what they're saying a little bit. But yeah, I end up, you think that I'm hilarious? Oh my god, thank you. That means a lot. Like, Peter Pantsoff has got high standards from what I've heard as far as comedy goes. And like, I mean, not comedy in the sense that I'm like trying to make a joke of this or making light of this or anything like that, at all. But
Okay,
I did
yes.
sort of take us on a detour, there. But yeah, like, I mean, it's like you're creating your environment that you're gonna live in. And like, if you're gonna create like a war-torn wasteland, then you know it's like gonna be Thunderdome.
No rules.
Two men enter, one man leaves. Yeah. Or wait,
It's
no,
like
is that right?
the start of football, okay? The start of the game of football. There's no gear, there's no rules, and people start punching each other. Okay?
Oh my god, I would totally see. Just kidding. No, I'm
No,
bad. I'm bad. I'm
no,
bad. I'm bad.
no,
I'm bad.
No, because that's what's happening. when I watch these
Oh my
panels,
god,
that's what's
missing
literally
football.
happening.
You're exactly right. Oh my god, we gotta have punching in football.
No,
Like through the helmet.
no punching. And
We
yes,
can have big
academic
spiky
anarchists.
gloves and
when
be
you
like,
call
yes.
an argument
need more
is
Mad
not
Max,
absurd because an
don't we?
argument isn't. It's words. It's not a human being. So when you call an argument absurd, you are also calling the person who made that argument absurd.
It's like the
Therefore,
absurdity.
It's an ad
yeah.
hominem.
It's like a
Oh my God.
secondhand absurdification.
Well, I don't. Why do? I can't. But
yeah,
yes,
these people. Yeah, you're. I mean, but you're right. There's like a severe lack of neighborliness in the Twitch community.
and we have to create the neighborhood association. And if you're not going to be a part of it, we're not going to talk
neighborhood
to you.
association?
You're not going to be a part of.
So wait, does that mean that I
Secret
can't dig a
Santa.
big hole in my yard? Because like I'm gonna eventually put a pool in there. I just don't have the money to make the pool right now, so I'm gonna dig the hole now and let it fill up with like mud and stuff. But then later I'm gonna put the pool in after all of your property values go way down. Is that okay? Are we good?
That is okay, and you know what? You don't have to invite
Just
the
kidding.
asshole
Just
neighbors
kidding.
to your pool party. You
Wait,
don't
I
have
would
to
be the
invite them
asshole
to your
neighbor.
wedding.
I would be the asshole neighbor. Do I invite myself?
No, Irene, you're one of the good ones. I know.
I'm
I
trying to be,
know.
but sometimes sometimes I'll, like, I don't know. Sometimes, like, my good intention.
Sometimes you just see like, ooh.
Senpai, I give myself such good advice, but I very rarely follow it. It's the problem. I'm just kind of lost in this, like, strange world, the strange land of Twitch. It's a lot like Wonderland, kind of.
You can't see, but my hands are over my face in disappointment, and that's why my voice is muffled. Hey, I have probably a different perspective because
Oh, this is
you know
copyright music.
I come from college. I was really involved in debate, Model United Nations, that kind of stuff, and it was all structured. Okay, yeah, once in a while
Really,
there were some
college
hiccups.
was structured for you? Oh God, I must have had a very
Yes,
different.
we had rules, and there were certain things we couldn't write
What kind
in
of
papers.
college did you go to?
I wasn't allowed to use conspiracy theories in order to say that Hillary Clinton deserves to be in
Damn.
jail for Benghazi because of some shady website that I found. Oh
Did
yeah.
you ever have
No.
anybody in your class try to pass some, like, bullshit like that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes,
That's
yes,
so
they
funny.
did, and they got an F. They
Did they
failed
get
the
laughed
class.
at though? I almost feel like they deserve to get
couldn't
laughed
know.
at too.
Oh,
You wouldn't have known.
their
Yeah, the
names.
teacher gets it, and yeah, it's not like they read it in front of the class or something like that.
But these are some secrets that you get from office hours. So if you're in higher education and you think
hang out
office
with your
hours
professor.
aren't fun, yeah, hang out with your professors. They're awesome.
You can sometimes
They're
go get a
smart.
drink with them too. You know, some of them are down for that.
Hell yeah. Oh my god, so much. One of my professors worked on passing what was international law for asylum seekers.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, there was at the time law for refugees, but none for asylum seekers. None for asylum seekers.
Oh, I wasn't laughing at that. I'm sorry. The electric meal was bringing up a conspiracy theory.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure I've gotten my point across in that, yes, Irene, you can do something. It doesn't have to be this way, and
I just have to do something that's, like, not out of character for me. You know what I mean? And I feel like being the like, you know, dominatrix, like, is not really, I don't know. Like, I'd have to be a very different Irene. But maybe there's some way
you
that
don't have to be. Like,
think
figure
about
this
Mr.
out.
Rogers. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mr. Rogers was never like, you know, if you don't clean your room, Mr. Rogers is gonna whip that ass, right? You know, Mr. Rogers was never like, you know, like, if I come home again and the chores aren't done, like, you know, somebody's gonna get, like, you know what I mean? He was never like, but he somehow, like, you just wanted to be, like, nice to Mr. Rogers because he was, like, chill with you.
Do you think Mr. Rogers is gonna be able to stop something between North and Demon Mama?
Maybe I think he could.
No.
Chat, what do you think? Can we get a poll really quick?
So.
Mods,
I don't think so.
make that poll happen. Demon Mama versus Mr. Rogers. Who comes out of that? Who comes out of that?
There's this public opinion poll is a sham. But
that's true. You can totally cheat on these. You can completely cheat on these. Oh my god, Pisco. I was just talking about how I found a different way to mispronounce your name, but I know the right way.
I raided to Pisco, and then Pisco raided to you, so therefore I've raided.
Oh my god, so it's like a secondhand raid. Nice. Good to see you, Raiders. How's it going? We were just talking about the stream, yeah, and how I suck as a moderator.
The only reason why you suck as a moderator is that you just don't moderate. I would like to personally, just from me, okay? You don't have to listen, all right? I'm not prescribing anything. This is just like my advice as a person who really likes Irene and likes to be on her panels and likes to make the discourse a lot better and
what's up, Stories?
healthier and more substantial. Hey, Stories is the producer for All Asian Everything, and I was told that I was a pretty good moderator, despite, and like, hey, I had to convince like Stories and Prime about what I wanted to add and like how I wanted to be as a moderator for the All Asian Everything. Yeah, it takes some convincing. All right, because a lot of people don't want to change from the conventional wisdom. Okay, the conventional wisdom is working. The chaos is working. It's entertaining. But is that something that is that all we want?
I don't know. I mean,
You
I
know,
think in the
is it
beginning.
worth it? Is it worth it to sacrifice the substance?
But don't you
and the
remember, Chao?
intellectualism and the
In the
knowledge?
beginning, there was darkness.
There was darkness. And then there was physics and rules.
And then there was 2 different versions of the creation story, which are in no way reconcilable. And everybody said, how did people believe in a literalist interpretation of this book? It's wild. And it was wild. And God saw that it was wild.
Oh yeah.
All I can say about my version of the Bible is not nearly enough Lilith, okay? I wanted more Lilith.
No. Bad. I caught you. At the very end of that panel, you were like, Shinji, get into the cockpit. We all love you. No, nobody loves Shinji.
Everybody loves Shinji,
No,
especially his
nobody
loving
loves
father. His dad's such a great dad, don't you think?
No,
Don't they
no,
think they have a
no.
great relationship? Don't you just like... I wish I had a relationship like that with my dad. But like if it was my dad, the robot would have been like male identity or something, you know, it would have been really cringe. So yeah, that's sorry. That's one Ava I'm not gonna be piloting anytime soon.
Alright. I got my point across.
You did, and I enjoyed hearing it. I'm sorry I had to bait you so hard into that, but like, yeah, no, it was. I'm glad you showed up.
Yeah, and hey, like, you remember that that video that Book Smarts made, and then like people were saying, "Oh, this is really interesting," and then nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Oh yeah, we're gonna do like contests or just all kinds of like amazing ideas were in that video for things that you could do on stream, like other than just like your standard panel, basic bitch pumpkin spice panel.
Nobody did anything, and I was very sad because
Surprised.
he really laid it out. He got a lot of the points across, analyzed a lot of the problems, and made really good suggestions. Like, hey, these suggestions, they've been done before. Like, people think, maybe some people think, oh, well, like, Twitch panels and whatnot, like, this is new, we don't know if it's gonna work. We've been debating for thousands of years. Do people know that? We've been philosophizing for thousands, maybe not thousands of years. Yes, thousands of years, since fucking ancient Greece. This is not new. We know how people behave, and we know what works. I have a hard time trying to sell this idea.
It's a beautiful day in the Twitch debate neighborhood.
You need to know, it's not a neighborhood.
It's not
It's a battlefield. It's a wasteland. It's fend for yourself wasteland. And we have to break the security dilemma, okay? This game theory game that we're playing, where I need to protect myself and the downfall of others is a gain for me, okay? We need to break that.
We have to break the security dilemma.
Yeah. I could talk about that.
Oh, it's like the prisoner's dilemma, huh?
Yeah. But even worse, because instead of one person getting out, it's guns pointing at each other.
Yeah. That's life, though.
No, stop.
I was born with a gun pointed to my head.
Boo. Bad.
It said you gotta work. You gotta work or you're gonna starve.
No, we can live.
The other gun said you gotta believe in Jesus
live in a
Christ as your God or else you'll go to hell. It was so bad.
Rules and
all kinds
norms.
of guns. It was like
It
a
doesn't have-
bukkake of bullets, Chad. It was terrible. Like,
It doesn't have to be a Hobbesian society. He was wrong.
wait, doesn't he want the? Yeah, he wants the Leviathan to emerge and restore order.
Yeah, and at that point, we probably would need the Leviathan. But then eventually, we don't need the Leviathan because then the rules that were enforced, they become norms. They become
Mhm.
common sense. And then all is peace and dandy, so long as nobody breaks the rules.
What's up, Dylan?
Oh my God.
We're just talking about debates and how I suck as a moderator and just all kinds of stuff like that.
Dylan has rules, but he also still lets the fire burn.
Does go a little hard on, yeah, like sometimes, like if Dylan wants you to shut up, you know you need to shut up, right? Like I've never been like ba 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 ba. Some like I don't know. I can't quite go that hard on people. Dylan, I'm trying to like learn to use like soft power to make it a beautiful day in the neighborhood, to reinforce all those wonderful, just kind of civic values of respect for others that we're so lacking in the debate world right now. There's just so much anger
Oh my
out
God,
there.
Peter
There's so
Pan.
much.
You don't have to call an argument stupid. Just explain why it is without calling it stupid. Like, oh my God, what's with these people in ad hominems? I don't understand.
It's like a crutch, right? You know, they're like they've
Oh
got
my
to
God.
lie on the crutch in order to get through their, you know, they're like Willy Wonka. And well, what I'm asking is, at what point, debate Twitch, are you going to do a somersault and then pop up and be like, I'm not really fucked up after all. I don't need a cane. I'm fucking spry Willy Wonka, spry Willy Wonka. And he's just, you know, he makes women happy. Chat is all I'm saying. Everybody loves the Candyman. Everybody, the Candyman does. Like, that's who can take, you know, oh God, I can't remember the lyrics. Chat, can you remember the Candyman lyrics for me? The Willy Wonka Candyman? Respect for truth and reason is also a problem. Maybe the main problem. Da 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 da. Yeah, sometimes it's da 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 da.
All right.
That was my best, like, Dylan.
Now, stories is opening a can of worms.
What is Stories
Because-
talking about?
Well, he's talking about like people having different truths or different understanding of what is true, and who can really be the arbiter of truth. The moderator.
That's why I fight, so that I can be the arbiter of truth someday. It's like, Chao, I've always had this thought where I want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
You also want to travel across the land, searching far and wide.
Yes, you know what you feel it too. It's like this will to like. Okay. To return to
Poke. I know like half the time you're memeing. Please tell me like you got something substantive from this conversation.
No, oh my God. Yeah, I think that's clear. I think I think the record will show, you know, like this might even become a YouTube segment, who knows? Like, right? I think the record will show that, like, you know, I took this seriously despite the fact that it has some there's some comedic possibilities too. You know what I mean? Because you can be funny and like respectful at the same time.
You have to.
You don't always have to punch down. Do you know what I mean? You don't always have to be looking for a dunk on people. But it seems like that's all too often that is the tendency of yeah, I didn't mean to like imply like, you know, that I like, you know, just because I have a laissez-faire attitude towards debate moderation that I have like, you know, no sensibility or no desire to see like the Twitch debate space become something more than it already is. And I feel like, you know, yeah, the dominance paradigm in the Twitch debate culture, you know, is a problem. But like, I don't know, if I try to do Twitch debates without like, you know, without that like back and forth, like right now, like it's not gonna fly. It's just like,
it is gonna fly. What do you mean?
Well, you have to learn to walk first before you learn how to fly.
this is flying. No crosstalk is flying.
It's like
Come
no,
on.
no, no.
come
That's
on.
actually like less than flying. Okay, so flying is a little bit above that, but that would be like where you're running across the ground and you're flapping your wings and you're kind of like, you know, like off the ground for like most of the time, but you're still coming back down. Like that would be that thing, like when a bird takes off.
Not talking while another person is talking is not difficult.
Oh, the other thing, and you know about this, is that like Discord actually makes that a little bit more difficult than you think. Sometimes people talk over each other without realizing, or even legitimately do start at the same time. And if you don't want crosstalk, have 2 to 4 panelists. Yeah, I like streams like that. I like streams like that. There were some other people with some different thoughts about this last stream that they thought that we really needed to include a whole bunch of voices, and I don't know if there's any of the voices that we had on that I would be like, yeah, you know, I'm willing to, you know, have so, you know, these 2 off for a smaller, more, you know, expansive panel. But yeah, a lot of it, sometimes we do that. In fact, I think the week before the sexual empowerment and slut shaming show, we had a smaller stream with Vera and some of the more thoughtful Twitch streamers, and sometimes I'll do that on purpose, is like not bring on any bomb throwers, because that week I want the discussion to be, you know, more meditative, almost like where you're just sort of exploring the possibilities rather than you know, looking to draw contrasts between each other's point of view. Oh, what does Catherine say? Cat lies, is what Janima says. I love big panels.
Cat does lie. No, she doesn't lie.
Lies?
Whatchamacallit? This idea that, yes, okay, there's probably some effect.
Hey, Cat.
You're probably going to have a much more tame environment if there's less people. Less people, less voices, less chances of something actually exploding. Okay, I'll agree on that.
Oh yeah, because people people get frustrated when you have like more than like maybe 5 people or so. It's too long for them to wait between talkings. It's frustrating. Yeah, people do.
What? People, come on, deal with it, okay? I've been in
conferences. Yeah, before I get like...
I've been in conferences with
shit.
more than 100
Hey, good
people.
call, actually. On changing the music. I needed to turn that off anyway. If I'm gonna make this a like segment, I definitely need to turn off the music.
I've been in debates with more than 20 people, more than 100 people, and they don't have these problems. Why? Because there are rules, and we all respect the rules, and we all respect each other. Number of people isn't as big of a deal as people make it out to be. And you could still have a panel of 9 people, have it be a debate, and still make it constructive, and make it so that everybody else has a satisfactory chance to speak. And possibly one of the things that we can do in order to achieve this are 2 things: by having a speakers list and a speaker limit, or speaker times limit. So there are times in which people monologue, and I do this all the time. I try my best not to. I sincerely do. I do this all the time. When somebody is talking for like 5 minutes, all of a sudden, like, people have like, oh, I want to jump in on this point, but like, you know, they're continuing. When I kind of go, oh, they pause for a little bit. Is it my chance? These things happen. Okay. So if it's possible that we could pinpoint down the subject into something more specific, so that people don't have really any opportunity to monologue for something very broadly, and then you also have a speakers list where you know who's going to go next, because you take down the names, like you take down 5 names, and everybody knows it's in this order, and then once that list is gone, you take down another 5 names, and then they go in that order.
Actually, I wanted to show you something. I don't know. Hey, oh, the Royal Rumble, is that this week, Dylan? I don't think that'll be like big on rules on the Royal Rumble with Dylan. So like the
Fuck.
I wanted to
Hello?
show you like God, I was trying to remember like something on YouTube.
100-man Royal Rumble debate.
Wait, it's gonna be 100 people?
According
will
to
Patch be there?
my3len_. Yeah, Legend of Alec. These are gamer hours.
Hey, Carpe.
Speaking Q and responding to points made 20 minutes ago isn't a
Wait, 100
conversation anymore.
peeps?
Yeah, this. A lot of the times debates aren't conversations.
Oh yeah, like sometimes people
And
don't
if
even
you
listen
really,
to each
if
other.
you really think that the gap of your point is reduced just because that was the topic 20 minutes ago, probably just means that point wasn't substantive enough. And honestly, no points are ever unsubstantiated because of time.
Oh yeah. So Senpai
That doesn't
Chao,
make
have
sense
you
at
ever
all.
heard of, so you're a fan of debate and stuff. Have you ever heard of this legendary PBS show that used to be on called the McLaughlin Group? It was like debaters basically when I was like a little kid, like I would get up on like Saturday morning and watch like Digimon and shit. And then like
Oh, yeah.
Sunday morning I would get up and I would try to watch cartoons, but I wouldn't find cartoons because they weren't on. Instead, this shit was on. This guy here, John McLaughlin, and he did this debate that was just like really like he actually combined being a very controlling moderator with like allowing, encouraging, and even like participating in some really spicy discourse. I don't remember him ever calling anyone a brainlet or anything like that, but this is what it's like
From Washington, the McLaughlin Group.
this
the
is where I learned like debate, like
American original. For over 3 decades, the sharpest minds, best sources, hardest talk.
Issue 1, hacking the election.
okay, so this was like close to when he died, I guess.
Okay, get
Oof.
this. The Russian government has hacked into the database of the Democratic National Committee and seized emails.
Irene,
and
whatever you're gonna do, so long as it makes the people on the panel able to actually talk about the topic
And
rather
is he really
than whether
running,
or
or
not
is he,
North
trying
is
to
a
sabotage
raging
himself right
white
now? So that's about the way his
male,
campaign-
whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a win. Okay, that's a win. Because at some point, yes, it was completely derailed.
Well, I mean, like, whose fault do you think that was? That like, are you saying that like people maybe should have just like kind of like left North alone? Or are you saying that North like was allowed to do stuff that he shouldn't have been? Like,
Do you
where was
know-
the where would be the inflection point there to stop that process from happening?
Do you know the phrase
Hey,
"the
what's up,
buck
Saber?
stops here"?
It seems like something that McLaughlin would say. The buck stops here. Issue
Yes, the
1.
No, it's
Does
to
everybody
say
like my
that
McLaughlin impression?
the blame stops here. The responsibility stops here.
I
I'm
thought it
not
was
going
the
to blame it.
buck.
That's the buck. Yes, the buck stops here.
Yes. So it's like the deer goes all the way
Mhm.
through the picture, stops here,
Yes,
gives me a chestnut. I take that
The buck-
chestnut, I plant, I
the
grow
buck
a
stops
tree.
with you.
The buck. So
You're
it's
the
like this
moderator.
sacred thing, like the sacred deer
Yeah,
stops with me.
it stops with you.
And it's like what I do with that chestnut that it gives me. It
Yeah.
determines the way that the world will be reborn
Yes.
after the apocalypse.
Yeah. Because it's either the other bucks are going to eat the chestnut or you're going to plant it.
And it depends on
And
the
if you
soil
don't do
you
it, if you
got.
don't do anything, North the Buck is going to eat that chestnut, and there's not going to be any chestnut trees because he didn't plant any.
Okay, so yeah, that was the inflection point. Okay, you didn't have to. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool way to say it without saying it. I like that. I like that style because you don't really need to call people out, just to say, where you thought maybe the mistake was made. But yeah, we definitely got to eat it and plant it. Oh, Larry Potato, that is the 5-head take. That is definitely like thinking one step beyond. I like it. I like it. I use 5-head not always like I sometimes use it in like a positive, like an actual 5-head, Anyway. Oh my god, thank you for the biddies, Peter. Yeah. You think I'm really funny? Oh my god. No, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. Like I've been working on that too. Like it's like combining those things, like a little
Oh,
humor.
thank God. Yes. Yes, we need the humor.
On the panels,
I'm being yes on panels. Wait, 100%, even
to
more
like
on panels.
defuse the tension. I
Yes,
can do
yes,
a lot.
yes.
Yeah. What if
It
I have
does
them
that.
meditate? What if they didn't get to like just go
Doc-
into the debate?
no.
They have to meditate. Those
No,
motherfuckers are
Doc-
gonna be
Doc-
like,
Dr. K. Okay, so an advice for anybody, actually, an advice to anybody. Okay, when you are talking slowly as well as in a very comforting way, it's very inviting to other people, and they are more open to your ideas by talking this way. That means, yes, not being hostile, not being rude, not throwing ad hominems, but doing the opposite
oh my
of
god, thank
being
you, Larry
positive,
Potato.
being welcoming,
We should meditate.
leads to better results and better conversations. And a very excellent way to get that comfortable environment is by being humorous. Yes. This is awesome. Being humorous is professional. Now, joking about them, that's not that's hostile.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're not mocking here.
Well, generally the people that I would make rude jokes about won't be coming on my stream anytime soon. Like they wouldn't want to. The heat would just like melt them, and they would be utterly at a loss. But yeah, like I mean, it's like that's the power of streamers like me and Aiko. It's like we can just kind of drag people into our fever dream, and it's like there's not much you can do about it once you get in our lair. It's like just ask Xanderhall if you don't flock around and find out, right, folks? Anyway, yeah, like, but but I'm nice about it, okay? Yeah, I'm nice in my own age, definitely.
Irene, you got people watching. You got Danabo, you got Catherine, SVB. Like, you got a bunch of people who participate in our space and are listening to this conversation. And yeah, they're probably disagreeing because, again, it's going against what is quote unquote conventional wisdom when really it's not. And then I'm going to have to try to convince them. And then the next thing, and the next thing. But hey, if you can do it too, boom, we could do it twice as fast. And universal discourse, I talked about it with them yesterday.
Yeah.
Big fan, both of us.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because like what universal discourse is talking about conflict resolution inside as well as outside of the panel. And what I have in mind is creating rules and structures that leads to the behavior where conflict resolution can actually occur. So we were able to synthesize very well. And hey, like I could understand, and I already talked about this yesterday. I could understand that if you really want to stick with what works, I respect that. It's your content. There's probably some element of revenue involved, and this is not something that is frowned upon. should not be frowned upon because it's important. And for that aspect, like, hey, maybe it is just the inconvenient truth that when it comes to this platform, what I am inspiring to is futile, unrealistic, and impossible. But I'm willing to die on this hill. I am willing to be the fool because this is really what I
Well,
believe in.
you know, I mean, like for me, it's always been like, you know, like let's say that you grow up in a harsh world, okay, and like you're a seedy underworld like mafia like controls the streets and stuff, and you see people, you know, getting murdered all the time, and it's just like nobody can stand up to that. But it's like, you know, what do you do? Do you go up and be like, you know, hey, take me to the head mafia boss, I want to fight him? Or do you join the mafia and like secretly become like a trusted, like, you know, team member, and then you go and you get in a turtle, and the turtle, like, it, you can go inside the turtle even though it's smaller than you can go inside, and like you ride the turtle on a train, and then you eventually you fight the boss, and you can beat him, but you have to figure out how his stand works. What I'm saying, Senpai Chao, is that I have a dream,
Yeah,
and that dream is just.
I respect that.
I will become a gangstar,
Hell yeah.
and I will control Passion. Literally begging to
Hell
get
yeah.
on Bird Brains because drama. Danabo, Amazon Lily, got Girl Talk favorite panels ever. Your panelists want it to ever, even if they say they don't. I do a crypto podcast on touring news. So there's been 9 of us at a time. Not a debate show by any means, but there's still barely any interrupting or hostility. Did some of us have oh, touring is so cool. Yeah, tour. Have you ever been on stream with touring news, Chow?
Oh yeah, excellent time that I had with Tory News was on Aiko and Freems's the echo chamber. We were talking about rhetoric, and we were talking about how to approach conversation. I'm like, guys, hey, discussion, debate, panel, what, guys, it's all the same thing. Okay. What is really a debate is when people disagree, and then one side brings in facts and evidence, the other side brings in facts and evidence, and then they synthesize or they try to attempt to and whatnot, and
Or
they either come away bitter.
I just tell them both wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, or they just like get out and be bitter and say, okay, we agree on to disagree. Okay, that's a debate, guys. Okay, a debate is not something that is a spectacle. It's not entertaining at all. Okay, if we want to make politics entertaining,
Then we first got to get the
I'm
lighting just
sad.
right. That's the first point. This lighting needs to be just right. Let's see.
I would be sad.
We need to do video essays, I think. We need to use words like gorge. We need to use words like I don't know. Redacted apology tour was to convince his peers, not his viewers. What was the apology tour? Apparently, Redacted wants to come on next week. Not sure about that. You kind of missed your chance, Redacted. You were relevant for 1 week.
Wow. Well, if Redacted actually is able to, I think, okay, just me being the
Oh, this is
outsider
your
here.
take on the issue from the show.
I don't know who Redacted is, and maybe what they did is inexcusable. I'm not sure what they did, so bear in mind that's the context that I'm speaking about. And probably maybe inappropriate that I'm speaking about it anyways, perhaps, but I wouldn't know that, right? If Redacted can prove that he has changed his behavior and that he's able to, or she, I don't know, they are able to uh, come back, follow the rules, not be an asshole, et cetera, all these good things that we want, then we ought to be inviting to that.
Mm-hmm.
We ought to support that and we ought to appreciate that. And then this sends a signal to everybody else who's like, oh, damn, like, I miss talking with people. I miss getting on these shows. I miss the discourse and the discussion. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have like, we have controversy over these, but it doesn't have to end up with me saying, oh, you're not a human and whatnot, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have to like hurt each other's feelings. We could just like, we could have disagreements, guys. And so, yeah, that's my take. If Redacted could prove that and it's actually substantiated, then we ought to invite that, because then that's going to set the example for everybody else who is also in the position of Redacted.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's the case, then like if they have changed and we don't invite them, then the worst thing that could happen is that they revert. And then everybody else says,